Today, we're diving into a philosophy that absolutely exploded online, and for good reason. It's from Admiral William H. McRaven, a man who spent 37 years as a Navy SEAL. He took everything he learned and boiled it down into 10 simple, powerful lessons that can seriously change your life, and hey, maybe even the world. So let's get into it. Right off the bat, it starts here. With something so simple, it almost sounds like a joke, right? Make your bed. But trust me, you can't just brush this one off. This tiny little action is actually the foundation for a whole mindset, one that can change everything, way beyond some military barracks. You know, these ideas weren't cooked up in some think tank or classroom. They were forged in one of the toughest, most demanding places on the planet. But what makes them so powerful is that they apply to everyone. You don't have to be a SEAL to use these principles. You just have to want to make a real impact. All right, lesson number 1, the one that kicks it all off. It might sound a little boring, but this is the launching pad for literally everything that follows. So here's the thinking behind it. It's all about building momentum. When you make your bed, you've immediately won. You've accomplished the first task of the day. That small win creates this psychological ripple effect, you know? It gives you a little hit of pride that pushes you to tackle the next thing, and then the next. Let's really break this down. That one simple act, it proves you've got discipline. It shows you care about the details. And it's this constant, daily reminder that if you can't get the small stuff right, you've got no chance of nailing the big stuff. And you know what? After a really rough day, coming home to a perfectly made bed, it's this little signal that you're still in control and that tomorrow is a fresh start. Okay, so the next lesson takes us from our own personal discipline and zooms out to the power of a team. Because let's be real, if you want to change the world, you are not doing it alone. You've got to find someone to help you paddle. And McRaven couldn't be clearer about this. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets through life's biggest challenges or achieves anything great all by themselves. It just doesn't happen. It takes a team. It takes trust. And this is the perfect picture of what he means. In SEAL training, your actual life depends on your boat crew paddling together perfectly in sync. If just one person starts slacking, the whole team has to paddle even harder just to survive. The lesson is so clear. Find your boat crew in life and learn how to paddle together. So, our third lesson gets into something we all have to deal with: unfairness and failure. The SEALs have this memorable name for it. They say you have to get over being a sugar cookie. So, what on earth is a sugar cookie? Well, it's a punishment. For some tiny mistake, or sometimes for absolutely no reason at all, an instructor tells you to go jump in the ocean and then roll around on the beach until you're covered in sand. The real lesson here has nothing to do with your uniform. It's that life is not fair. Sometimes you're going to get punished for things you can't control. The trick isn't to complain, it's to just keep moving forward. And then there was the circus. If you failed any event during the day, you won 2 extra hours of the most brutal exercises imaginable, designed to just grind you down. It was a vicious cycle. You were tired, so you failed more, so you got more of the circus. But here's the crazy part. The guys who endured the circus the most, they ended up becoming stronger and more resilient than anyone else. The point behind both the sugar cookie and the circus is this: failure isn't just possible, it's a guarantee. Unfairness is a guarantee, but those moments don't have to break you. In fact, if you push through them, they will build you. They'll forge this inner strength that you could never get just from succeeding all the time. And understanding that about failure leads to something else really important. You have to be willing to take risks. In training, there was a safe way to get down an obstacle, and then there was a fast, risky, head-first way. Guess which one the top performers took? If you really want to see what you're made of, you can't let the fear of failure hold you back. But what about when things go from just being difficult to being truly, truly dark? This fourth lesson is all about how you carry yourself when you're facing the absolute worst. McRaven gives us 3 clear actions here. First, face down the bullies, whether that's a literal shark in the water or the fears inside your own head. Courage is your best weapon. Second, you have to rise to the occasion. When the pressure is at its absolute peak, that's when you have to be your calmest. And third, and this is so important, you have to give people hope. This last one might just be the most powerful. During Hell Week, the trainees were stuck in freezing, neck-deep mud. Everyone was on the verge of quitting. And then, One guy started to sing. Just one. Then another joined in, and another. Look, the song didn't make the mud any warmer, but it warmed their spirits. It's this incredible example of how one single person, with one simple act of hope, can pull a group together and make something unbearable feel possible. And all of this builds to what McRaven calls the single most important lesson he learned in all of his SEAL training. I want you to picture this. Right in the middle of the training area, where everyone can see it all day long, there's a brass bell. It's sitting there, this constant, silent temptation. And the deal is just devastatingly simple. You just walk up, you ring that bell 3 times, and it's over. All the pain, the cold, the exhaustion, it just stops instantly. It's a heavy question, isn't it? Because sure, you end the pain that's happening right now, but that relief comes with a much, much heavier price tag. And there it is, the absolute truth of it. The pain of pushing through, that's temporary. But the pain of regret, that feeling of knowing you gave up, that you walked away, that will haunt you for the rest of your life. Quitting never actually makes anything easier in the long run. So this is the ultimate takeaway. Life is going to put bells in front of you all the time. All these little opportunities to just give up and take the easy way out when things get hard. The biggest lesson from the brutal training of the Navy SEALs is to decide right now that you will never, ever ring the bell. So how do we put this all together? Well, the path is actually pretty clear. You start your day with a win, a small act of discipline like making your bed. You find your team, your boat crew. You accept that life isn't fair and you learn to use your failures to get stronger. You take some chances. You step up when things get tough. You stand up for others. You inspire hope. And through it all, you never, ever, ever give up. And that really brings us to the final, most important question, the one for you. You don't have to go out and change the entire world tomorrow. But based on everything we've talked about, what's one small thing you can start doing that, if you do it every single day, could eventually change your world? What's your version of making the bed? Think about it. Thanks for tuning in.